Hey, welcome back to the Happy Place Diaries. In this episode, we're going to show you a little bit more cast iron cooking. This time we're doing an apple dump cake in the Dutch oven, so stay tuned. Okay, so for this recipe, you're going to need charcoal, whatever kind of charcoal you like. You're going to need some apple pie filling, a Dutch oven, 10-inch or a 12-inch Dutch oven, a secret ingredient, which is your choice of Sprite or 7-Up or whatever brand, and a can or a box of classic yellow, perfectly moist cake mix. You're also going to need a way to light up your charcoal, and that's it. We'll show you how to do this. Okay, the first thing that you're going to do is load up your charcoal chimney with briquettes. It's always okay to do more briquettes, especially on a day like today where it's hot, but we got wind. That wind's blowing across here. It's going to eat up those briquettes. So, and we're baking, and we'll talk about that in just a sec. Okay, so we've got our briquettes lit. We'll check back in when we get to the next step. Super easy to prepare. Okay, so while we're waiting on the briquettes to fry up, go ahead and get your dump cake all ready to go. That way you're not wasting any time and wasting any heat. So really, it's this simple. We're going to go ahead and get our apple filling in. Now you want to make sure that your Dutch oven is well seasoned and it's got a nice coat of grease in there. And there's a reason they call this a dump cake. Okay, I always like to leave a couple, and you'll see what I'm going to do with those. Also, I like a whole lot of fruit in our dump cakes. So let's go ahead and get this one in. Grab a wooden spoon. All right, we got a nice layer of the apple on the bottom there. Now we're going to add our cake mix. Now make sure that you wash your hands before you do this, or better yet, use a wooden spoon. And we're basically just going to mix in our cake mix with our apple. And it doesn't have to be real particular. You just want to get the batter in there. And then add the secret ingredient. Not too secret because I just told you. And now we wait for our briquettes to be done. So just a couple things while we're waiting on our briquettes to be ready. The dump cake is pretty much it. I mean, that's it. You dump it all into the Dutch oven. And then once we get to the actual briquette part, or the actual cooking part, I'll show you what we're doing there with the baking. You could do this with any fruit of your choice. Use cherries or whatever. I just happen to like apples. And so when I make a dump cake, it's always an apple dump cake. Besides, with the apple with that 7-Up or Sprite, it really adds some really great flavor into that cake mix. It always comes out super moist and fluffy, and that's the way I like it. So we're just waiting. What we're going to wait on our briquettes, we're just going to wait for the just below the top layer to start turning white. Then we'll spread out our briquettes, one about 10 on the bottom and about 12 to 14 on the top. Whenever you're baking, you want more heat on the top, pushing heat down than you do from the bottom. If you're searing or you're trying to get things to a boil, then obviously you want a little bit more briquettes on the bottom. But for bacon, you always want to go top down. And we're going to be cooking this at about 325, 350 degrees. Typically, rule of thumb is 25 degrees per briquette, and that's going to get you right where you want to go. So again, we're going to go 14 on top, 10 on the bottom, 12 to 14 on top. And again, watch the temperature. If there's a lot of moisture in there, add a few more briquettes, because it's going to take a little bit more to get you going. All right, so as soon as these briquettes are done, we'll get to the next step. Okay, it's looking like the briquettes are ready. Safety first. Got my fire glove on. We're going to go ahead let that burn out. And the ones that are still real black, I'm just going to keep them over here on the side and let them keep on going. And we're going to get our Dutch oven up here, but first we're going to put 10 briquettes in a circle right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a look at your briquettes. If they start getting really small, go ahead and add another little one up there. It's okay. All right, now we're going to put the Dutch oven on. Here's a tip on your Dutch oven. You got the logo or the word Lodge up here on the size. Every Dutch oven has something on the top. So pick an orientation, even if it's your handle, because we are going to rotate this as we're cooking. And then we're going to put 14 on top. 1, 2, 3. And we'll space those out a little bit. Again, we got a warm day, but we got a windy day, so we want to get this heat pretty even. And I've got all these extra briquettes over here that's ready in case these start wearing down. Okay, we're going to let that cook for 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. We're going to check on it, but we are going to rotate the lid. At 15 minutes, we'll rotate the lid and we'll rotate the bottom so that we get a pretty even cook. Again, we piled up all those briquettes on the other side. And I probably have more briquettes than I need, but that's okay. And then we'll check on that. And again, just check on your cake. It's like doing any other cake. Do the toothpick test. If it doesn't stick to the toothpick, your cake is done. And then I promised I was going to show you what I do with those extra little pieces of apple in the can, and we'll do that when we rotate the first time. Just a tip, don't get in the habit of looking at what you're cooking. When you're looking at what you're cooking, it's not cooking. Every time you lift that lid, you potentially can add about 10 minutes of time to your cook time. So yeah, keep the lid on. Let the cast iron do the cooking for you. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rotate our lid a quarter turn clockwise, and we're going to rotate the bottom to the lid's back where it started. One of the things you want to check here is go ahead and tap on your coals, and you'll see where it's getting flaky. Those coals are losing heat. So in about 10 minutes, we're going to go ahead and lift that lid and see what the cake's doing. We might have to add a little bit more briquettes. In fact, it wouldn't hurt because, like I said, we're baking. We're going to go ahead and throw just a couple here in the middle. We want to add our final touches too in about 10 minutes. So we'll come back in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to check on it real quick. Oh, that's looking delicious. We're going to take the couple of little pieces that we had in here and just put those on top, right in the middle there. This also lets me gauge how that cake is cooking. And you saw that it did go down a little bit. And then we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of brown sugar on top. Again, make sure your hands are clean. Oh, that's melting right in. All right, that's beautiful. All right, so we're going to let this go for another 15 minutes. And it should be ready to go. Alright, so I just rotated the Dutch oven again, rotated the lid a quarter turn, rotated the bottom a quarter turn, and what I noticed that these coals were getting pretty dusty, getting pretty burned out, so I went ahead and added a little bit of coal to the bottom, a little bit of coal to the top, and we've got about 10 more minutes of cooking left, and we should be good to go, ready to enjoy a really good dessert. Okay, we're going to call that done. All right, so what we've done is we took it off of the heat. I've got the lid off for right now. I'm going to clean the coals off the lid, and we're going to let it set for probably about 15-20 minutes. Let that thicken up a little bit, and then we'll show you what it looks like. Well, okay, it's time to dish it up. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. Well, I hope you try the apple dump cake. Super easy to make. A couple cans of apple pie filling, a box of cake mix, and about 45 minutes of watching it cook in a Dutch oven, and you are good to go. A wonderful dessert. This is super moist, cooked all the way through. I'm telling you, it's a great way to sit out by your campfire and enjoy a little bit of dump cake. Hey, thanks for coming along with us. Hope you enjoyed this recipe. It's super easy. Makes for a wonderful dessert when you're out at the campground. And you know, don't forget to share it with a friend. We hope you enjoyed it as much as I am enjoying it. So we'll see you in the next video. All right.